Now, the Lionesses became the first defending champions ever to lose their opening game of the Euros with a 2-1 loss to France. Here's how boss Sarina Wiegman reacted.
I think we caused ourselves a bit of problems. We know what their strengths are, and we played too many short passes, and where they could put pressure on, and then when we would get out, then we were a bit too sloppy on the ball, and then and especially when it's on your own half, they become really dangerous, and we had to get that right and do better. We did have moments in the second half. We couldn't harm them that much, and I think when we scored the corner, that helped us, and we tried to force a goal, and I think we were really close, but we didn't get it across the line.
Let's get some reaction to that defeat with talkSPORT commentator Joe Shennan. Morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Dean. How are you?
Yeah,
Very good.
Thanks, mate. I'm interesting. Sarina Wiegman saying they were pressing at the end. Yeah, they were, but I thought they were flattered by a 2-1 scoreline. I thought the French were better in pretty much every department.
You're right, Jeff. I think England just left it far too late. I mean, they started the game well. First 10, 15 minutes looked like it was going to be a really exciting performance tonight. But the French took over, and they were the better side in all aspects up until England threw a couple of subs on and changed the shape, started to go a bit more direct. Then you get a goal with 3 minutes of added time, of normal time to go. But you know, as Dean will tell you, you know it's too late to kind of force a rally in a game like that against a team who are playing as well as the French were. So I think big improvements needed from England. You know, this was a poor performance. I think I'd have to say their worst at a major tournament under Sarina Wiegman. So while her record is brilliant, she's got some big decisions to make ahead of Wednesday.
Just picking the bones out of her press conference after the game then, I was listening to what she said. It sounds to me as if they were playing out from the back too short, because France are really good at setting traps for you to steal the ball off you. So to counteract that, you have to hit the ball from back to front, or you turn the opposition's defence around, so they're running back towards their own goal. Otherwise, you're just playing into the trap. And it sounds to me as if the players haven't done what she's asked them to do.
It feels like it, and actually you're absolutely right, Dean, in that when they did go direct and they did start to get the French defenders on the turn in that last portion of the game, that was when they started to create chances. They sent on a teenager, Michelle Adjemang, just her second cap ever for England. She's got no fear, and she's a centre forward. She went right in the middle of the France back line and started to make life difficult for them. You could see that the French thought, you know, how do we handle this person that none of us have really ever come across before? And that was where England started to find that they could put pressure on the French back line. But I think the way that England reacted and the way that Wiegman reacted, which is unusual for her, is that it was reactive and not proactive. You know, she waited too long, I think, to make the substitutions, too long to make the tactical changes. And I think what England need on Wednesday night, in a game that really they have to win, realistically, is a bit more intensity, a bit more high energy, and a bit more of a sense that they really want to go out and win these matches.
I mean, from my perspective, the England performance was all too mechanical. There was no one to go past opponents in the way that the French did. I mean, they caused us problems down both flanks. So do you see wholesale changes coming on Wednesday, Joe?
I think the thing with Sarina Wiegman, Jeff, is that she's never really quick to make plenty of changes or to make substitutions in game. If you remember Euro 2022, she kept the same starting 11 for the entire tournament. That's the only time at a men's or a women's Euros that has ever happened. So team selection wise, she's usually pretty conservative. A lot of debate in the England media camp at the moment: should they change shape, should they go two up top, should they switch to a back three? They've not played with a back three from the off in a game all year so far, but you know, the performance was worrying, I think, the other night. So for me, I think it needs 2, 3, 4 personnel changes, maybe even a switch to a 3-5-2. But whether the England manager thinks that is going to be the case is another thing entirely. And I wouldn't be surprised if she sticks with the same shape and maybe there are only 1 or 2 tweaks. But look, you can't argue with her tournament record, can you? She's won one tournament with England. She's got to the final in the other. So there is still a little bit of leeway, plenty of leeway for Sarina Wiegman.
Yeah, and Joe, you know, the old managers, they weren't wrong. Like, you can call people, stuck in the Times or whatever. But your school teacher used to say this comment, lads, you've got to earn the right to play. What that means is you can't just dominate the centre circle with short passing the ball into midfield, unless you stretch the opposition's back line so you've got some space to play. So you've got to earn the right to play. You can't just set the game off playing balls into midfield against France, who set traps and jump all over you. Sometimes you've got to hit the ball from back to front. I watched the Dutch game. They played Wales. They were poor for 40 minutes. Wales done well, but they were poor. But they've got some individual players who are brilliant. Centre forward Medina is going to cause problems against England. So I still think England will beat the Dutch.
Well, you're absolutely right, Dean. I mean, the Dutch have got a lot of individual quality in the side. I don't think they're as good a footballing team as the French, but you're absolutely right to look at Miedema and that brilliant goal right on half-time, just as Wales looked like they'd got through to half-time, and it would have been massive for them. I think if they'd got there at 0-0, it could have been a different game in the second half. But in Miedema, the Dutch have got a player that the England players will know well from the WSL, but a player that can do something out of nothing at any moment. So she's a big challenge. But I do think that England, if they can get on the front foot, as you've been saying, if they can win those 50-50 battles in midfield and start to show a bit more intensity in the wide positions, again, maybe get two up top. The Dutch are not great defensively. How would they deal with a second striker? If they can do that and they can get on top early, get the early goal, then it'll settle them down. Then it suddenly feels very different in terms of confidence. If they go a goal behind the Lionesses, then that pressure just increases. But, they were champions in the Euros last time for a reason, and now it's all about dealing with the weight of pressure, the weight of expectation, and coming out and delivering.
Let's hope they can do so, Joe. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Joe.
Cheers, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.